Hi everyone, Manga Dan again. It's going to be a short video today about a front chain guide. So this is from 1UP. It's just an upper guide and it mounts into ISCG 05 mounts. Basically it's the 2005 standard for international chain guide mounting. And I'm going to mount this on my Tallboy version 4. So real quick before we get to there, why might you want one of these? Well, basically even with narrow wide chain rings and good chains and clutching derailleurs, there's still a risk that you could bounce a chain off in the middle of a ride. Although I haven't had it really happen, actually I can't think of a single time where it's happened on either my road bike or my mountain bike where I've had an issue with that in the one by setup so far. But you know, if you ride chunkier terrain, faster terrain, it's just a nice little safety thing. The safety standard basically helps you make sure nothing's gonna happen. Nice thing about this thing's really light. It's only about 45 grams or so. I'll put on a scale here before we get going and actually weigh it up. Yeah, it's very light, very compact, easy, and I'm gonna show you how you can actually install this without even taking your cranks off of your bike. So let's get down to the bench and weigh this thing. So with the guide, you get a bunch of extra little bits. Basically, you got some bolts, some thicker spacers for running boot spacing, and a bunch of other little spacers that actually mount the upper guide left and right, fine detail, to get it fit your bike properly. So realistically, you're gonna have the guide, the 2 bolts, the 2 thick spacers, and probably a couple of these to make it fit. So like I was saying before, it's quite light. It's only 44 grams for what will probably be what I will need for my bike. And let's get over to that. So as I was saying before, we're actually gonna be able to install this guide without even removing the cranks. That has to do with that most crank chain rings have fairly large windows in them that you can actually be able to poke through and actually get to the bolt holes right here and down here for the ISCG 05 standard. So now we're actually going to get the guide and install it and show you what that looks like. So the first thing you're going to want to do is actually set up the chain guide to be installed. So right now you need to raise this all the way up to the top and then loosen this bolt and flip this up out of the way. So in order to do that, you loosen that up a bunch, and that's going to allow you to pull up this outer part, and you can get to the other bolt hole right through here. Loosen that one up as well. And then you just slide it up. Once it's loose enough, it'll slide right up. Tie it back down because you just don't want that to move around right now. And once again, you don't really want this top piece to move around much either. So we're just gonna kind of just tighten that back down in place for the time being. So because you're threading metal into your frame, you want to make sure you grease your bolts. So get a bucket of grease. This will also just help you line everything up once you're in here. So what it is, I use some grease to hold this washer onto the back of the guide. So I don't have to worry about that when I'm actually threading it through the frame. And then I'm gonna put the bolt onto here just to hold it all together. I'm gonna put that through. And then just carefully thread everything through all together. And now I'm in that hole, and I can tighten it down and get one of the 2 bolts in. Then we're gonna do the same for the bottom bolt. Move that around. So now we have access here. Once again, grease the bolt. This one slide up underneath it. Luckily the guide is on there enough where we actually have some tension, so actually gonna apply it. I'm just gonna hold that washer there for you. Just put the bolt in, just like we did the other one. So you don't want to tighten these all the way down right away. So what you want to do is be able to position the guide in a way that it will not touch the frame, which it is currently right up here. It's actually touching the frame a little bit. And you need to lower this down on the frame. This doesn't have to be super far down on it. I forgot about that, that's right. Because as a suspension cycle through, you need room for this to go around. In some frames, you might have some clearance issues here in the bolt holes that allow you to rotate this guide back and forth. I have mine rotated fairly far forward, which for me works pretty well. Each frame's a little bit different though, so you just need to check which way you have it and adjust it as needed for your particular bike. And for the shims showed you on the scale, they go in here behind this plastic piece, and they allow you to adjust this in and out with some precision. Now you put your chain in about the middle here. You can also go up and down. You want to go across your cassette and make sure nothing rubs. If it does, put one shim in, then move it out. If it rubs on the outside too much, you might actually have to take the large spacers out and then allow your guide to go in and then space it back out even more with the plastic spacers. So you actually have a lot of flexibility there. Find which one you need. Once you have it installed, you should have pretty much a drop-free life. Even if it comes off the bottom, this will re-rail it on the top. It won't let it come all the way off, and you should be able to pedal it back out just under light tension and get it back on the chainring. And that's it for today. If you like this video, down here, hit like and subscribe and ring the bell. It helps out the channel. Until then, just ride.